All right, guys, back for another go around. This is our taking a couple of our best of 2022. We always do on the Brave board. Uh, what our top 15 that our friend, our buddy Nick here,
Hey,
taking care of now. Who did it before you?
was it Verbal Sniper? No,
No, it was a dude up in Canada. It was
he was a Vancouver guy, right?
yes, West Coast or maybe even I don't even know if it was Vancouver. Yeah, it was Western Canada.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was now.
But yeah, so we do a top 15 every year. Everybody does it on the board, and we decided to just grab three of them randomly. I don't know how you guys did it. I just grabbed three randomly out of my top 15.
I had, I
Lord
had
of All Fire. Sorry.
Lord of All Fire. That's it.
There you
Had
go.
to, had to pick number one.
Loaf. Yeah,
Yep.
Loaf.
Loaf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I picked I picked one that I knew if I didn't pick, Nick would pick, but I had to pick it. And the other two, I was just like, I knew no one else would pick. So that's kind of how I got to him. And I didn't want to pick something like Creator showed up in my top 15, but I just wasn't going to pick it because I don't need to really talk anymore about Creator or think about him that much. So
I never think about him at all. So
well, I knew. I mean, I almost picked it just for Nick, just so I could hear him go, yeah, I listened to two songs and it sucked.
well, I picked my three mostly based around what is not going to drive Jason Larson just off the road or something. So
Yeah, that's right. You said not to.
Yeah.
I got
And
it.
I wanted to give Jason a fighting chance.
and my three were as close to as not blue hair as possible. So if it was blue hair, I wasn't going to pick it. So not blue hair, I picked them.
Yeah,
No.
it's weird because one of them is totally blue hair
Really?
in the scheme of things.
Okay. All right.
I don't
You'll have to let me know as we go on.
I don't think that word means the way you think it does, or however that saying goes.
No, I think that out of all the episodes we've done, this one is probably the most Nick friendly with most of the albums that were chosen.
I'm looking at it here. I go,
long time coming.
so this will be Erica's show tonight.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I say
It'll be Nick talking and then us going, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like I said before we started recording, I told Nick, I was like, I really can't wait to hear him pronounce all these fucking the albums and
the titles, the album titles.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
In fact, let's start with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I think this was my number 2 of the year, possibly 3. I can't quite remember. I think it was 2. It is a band from Prague, Czechoslovakia. Jesus Christ, what year is this? The Czech Republic.
I would have said Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. Well, my second band is from Slovakia, so I've got a Czech band and a Slovakian band. So we're reunited.
You're covered.
Yeah. So Czech bands, the only 4 songs. What I love about it though is they feel longer than they are. I mean, it's the songs go by quickly. It's 4 songs that have a lot in them, but it's not like an hour-long slog fest. It's actually pretty short and enjoyable. It is a band with, I don't know what it means in Czech. It better not mean what it means in English, and that's Bran.
That's why Larson loved it. He loves all the like food names. Like,
yeah. Bran, I'm gonna go ahead and say that is Ochazeni by Bran, their first album, I believe. I just like it. I was pretty into the first song. The riffs are somewhat repetitive, but I think what I like about it most is the way the songs build up on each other and kind of hypnotize you through the song a little bit. And then towards the end of the second song, when that guitar melody comes in, that's when I was sold. I'm like, okay, this album is shredding my ass. So yeah, I highly recommend it if you want kind of muddy, atmospheric black metal that just kind of builds upon itself.
So not a dick ripper this year, but an ass shredder.
Yeah.
I dug it. I should say I dug it more than the other two that you're gonna pick. The title track was my favorite, so the last song. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. I think you did a good job of it. But no, I thought it was really cool. I heard a lot of like old school riffs here and there that they mixed in, like old school metal riffs that I liked. But it definitely fit, especially when I was, the other day when it was like a blizzard here for a little bit. But very cool. No, it's always interesting to me that I don't know how you find all of these bands because I've
Yeah.
never heard.
That's kind of my thing. It's I'm kind of liking it more. Like Nick's picks, not saying I didn't like him in the past, but because it's such for me, it's such an untapped world. Like whenever I look at his list, I'm always like, maybe I've heard of two of these bands, and then this year with his picks, this one included, initially when I listened to his three, this was my least favorite, but now it's moved up, basically tied for second, and could easily move into the top because it's the one now that we're about 6 weeks or 5-6 weeks since we decided to do this episode that I've come back to the most. Because it's like, oh, I got 30-35 minutes, let me throw on the Bran album. And like I said, it's such an untapped thing for me because like black metal, other than the old school 80s and maybe the beginning of the 90s, I know to a degree. The 80s stuff I know, early 90s I know a little bit, and then I just pick and choose here and there. So I don't have any. Nick's my guide, basically, is what I'm saying. And I know he likes, kudos for those kind of things. So
You're welcome. I will not guide you down the wrong path.
no.
I'm just gonna hog tie you and shove a bunch of brand down your throat. It's like that's a SNL skit, Cold and Blow.
Oh, super colon blow. Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah.
I've been back at the gym, so I've been listening to a lot of these albums, and I think my ear is slowly starting to grow with these bands because this album isn't 100% black metal, like Nick said, that second song. I mean, for me, when I was kind of working out, I'm pretty sure it was this band. It just sounded like a traditional metal song. And then it wasn't a black metal voice, it wasn't shrieking, and that's when I was really starting to appreciate the songs. So I'm now slowly starting to appreciate these bands in bigger bunches here. And I don't want to get Nick all excited, but there's two of these that I would not mind purchasing and throw them in the car and listen to them.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
See, we're getting Jason more into black metal and the heavy.
Right. And I don't want to
side.
all right. I don't want to like them because you guys like them. I want to like them because it interests me. So
Yeah.
Well, and it's cool to have something that's not what I would typically be listening to. I mean, I have offshoots, but not like, yeah, I mean, I would buy this in a heartbeat as well,
Yeah. And there's another one of Nick's bands that when he mentions it, I'll get into that one too. But yeah, I think my ears are kind of branching out.
Good.
And
so you're not too much of a blue hair yet.
No, a couple grays now. So yeah, no, I honestly, during the earlier episodes, I would just be listening to these albums once, and then we would do the episode. And I can honestly, Nick's, everybody, I've 3 times I've listened to them all, and I can go back to Super Colon Blow a 4th time. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Right on.
Yeah, and you know, Nick mentioned the you know, I want to pick some albums so that Larson doesn't commit suicide, and you know, these are good choices.
I succeeded. You're
Yeah,
here.
they're
Yeah, it wasn't that severe, Jason. He just said
Yeah.
doing 3 that won't make Larson hate his life.
So yeah, these were fun, and I can see myself putting them on again in the gym.
Right on. Yeah, it's good. It's really strong music. I see why you like it at the gym. It's pretty riff centric. It's not blasting the whole time. It's
Yeah, especially that second tune, like you said.
yeah. That last 2 minutes of that sold me big time.
Would you get this off Bandcamp?
Yeah, I mean 99% of my shit's from Bandcamp,
Okay. Very cool.
unless it's on Napalm or whatever. But yeah,
I guess we can go counterclockwise the way I'm looking, so I'll go next. I'm going to choose the first one. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a big Doom guy. Stoner Doom. I mean, that's my main thing. And I like all kinds of Doom, but I like old school traditional Doom the most. And this band is kind of a super group of sorts, especially with the vocalist coming from quite possibly the greatest European Doom band of all time, as far as I'm concerned. But the bass player is Taneli Arva, ex-sentenced guy. Taz on drums. He was in Electric Wizard for a piece.
And Looney Tunes for a while.
Yeah. And Albert Witchfinder on vocals, obviously. Reverend Bizarre. I miss Reverend Bizarre. They broke up, and this came out, Friends of Hell, self-titled, and I had to jump on it. On Rise Above, which is Lee Dorian's.
Lee Dorian's album or label, yeah.
Yeah. And anything that's old school like this is just straightforward. There's no frills. It's just Doom. And I love Witchfinder's vocals. Absolutely awesome. And, you know, I miss them. I miss Reverend Bizarre a lot. So as soon as I saw this, I jumped at the chance to grab it, and glad I did. My top track, Evil They Call Us. It has such an old school riff. It's a little more faster paced. Of course, when we're talking about Doom,
Anything's
but I love stuff like this. Like, there's no bullshit. It's great band name. You know, the packaging is just great. It's old school. You know, the pictures of the guys look great. Like I said, the guitar playing, you know, the vocals. I mean, for me, it's an easy 10 out of 10. I'm easy to please. But when it comes to Doom and Stoner recently, I'm actually very hard to please, I guess. I shouldn't say I'm easy to, because when it comes to that, I think those scenes have been
saturated,
just run into the ground. And so when something comes out like this that makes me, you know, like, oh my God, you know, kind of like
well, it doesn't hurt that they have like a pedigree, you know, that
Yeah.
like you're like, this probably won't suck. And if
Mhm.
it does, then it'll just piss me off.
That's kind of what With the Dead, that band that came out, that was a Lee Dorian band. I can't remember who else is in it, but that was kind of his. This is what it kind of reminded me of. I thought, man, I'm not really into With the Dead. It's just okay, and so when I saw all these guys, I'm like, man, please don't suck. But you're right, it absolutely doesn't. And I'm pretty convinced that anything that the dudes from Reverend Bizarre are involved in now just absolutely rips. So
What happened to them anyway?
I don't know. I can't I'm not sure about why they broke up, but I just remember that I remember reading one day they just got on the internet and were just like, yeah, we kind of ran our course, so we're it. So
Yeah,
Lord Vicar is now, I think one of the dudes is in Lord Vicar, which is excellent. In fact, I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, Kimmy Karki. He's the guitar player from Reverend Bizarre, and actually has Lord Critus on vocals, who was with, my God, Count Raven and Saint Vitus. So he does the vocals for Lord Vicar, and that's another band that has put out some quality doom material as well. Why? Because of Kimmy Karki from Reverend Bizarre. So anybody that likes old school doom, if you're missing Reverend Bizarre, if you just want straightforward shit, just go for Friends of Hell.
because yeah, not the second I put it on, but about 2 minutes in the first song, I'm like, this is so fucking Kip, this album.
Yeah, I
Like,
know. You hear it the second it was not even 2 minutes, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is Kip.
Yeah.
I
Like, I didn't
fucking
even,
my favorite track is what is it? Into My Coffin. That's more upbeat too, but it's like, and then the more I listen to it, is he really saying get into my coffin, or is he, because he's saying come into my coffin? Does he want someone to come in his coffin? I don't know. But listen to it now, because the more I've listened to the album, each time I hear it, I'm kind of like, ooh, it's risque, you know.
yeah, but I didn't even look into the background of it, of who was in it. But now you mentioned that, that's completely makes sense, because it's quality shit for sure. That Reverend Bizarre is the only that style of doom that I actually own anything by.
Wow.
I have like gothic doom, like My Dying Bride and Catatonia and all that other stuff, but that I don't know if you call it sludgy doom or whatever, but it's just that it's not super slow, but just that, I don't know, that
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it. They're finished, so they have that sound, whatever it is, that style of doom. I really do enjoy. So this one was definitely stood out to me from your shitty list.
Excellent. What about you, Jason?
I could not get into it. I don't know why. I don't know why.
It's kind of crazy. That's weird. You're talking about, ooh, I may purchase Bran and one more of
Yeah, and one more.
Nick's albums.
And then
But this
and then
thing
this
that
album.
has just this thing that has a very just solid guitar sound.
Yeah. Oh,
Can't do
so
it.
70s.
Yeah, no, that's what it's like.
Oh, so
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know, maybe, I mean, I'm going to give it another chance, because one of Kip's choices for me, I was just listening to it. It's another one of his choices, and it just hooked me. And I'm like, this is awesome. So we'll get to that later. But yeah, maybe it was because it sounds so dated, and maybe it's tried to get that Sabbath sound. And for me, I don't know, maybe that didn't work. But I mean, I'll give it another try for sure. But yeah, maybe it's because I was just gaga over this other choice
Which sounds absolutely nothing like it.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, if people, this is more like, in fact, the name of the band was taken from a Witchfinder.
Yeah, Witchfinder General. Well, hold up the cover again of that. Hold up
Oh, this one,
of that one,
Friends of Hell.
because it has that red and the colors of, because the Friends of Hell, it's them like in front of the church or the graveyard or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only difference is if this were a Witchfinder General album, her tits would be hanging out. So,
Right.
but yeah, Witchfinder General is, I mean, I would say that this is just like an updated version of Reverend Bazaar and Witchfinder and Pagan Altar and kind of that just awesome, kind of gloomy, dark, traditional dooms.
Yeah. Kip, I see Pagan Altar is coming here locally in November.
Oh,
Atlanta.
you should go. The
I'm
dude,
debating.
God,
So it's a festival, so like Autopsy's there and Autopsy's headlining.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
It's a
think
3-night fest.
the dude from Magic Circle,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the vocalist now.
For Pagan Altar.
Yeah, because the original guy, I think his name's Terry. I can't remember his last name. I have it right here, but he passed away. He had cancer. Terry Jones.
Well, of course he did. You like them, they die. You know that trend.
And once again, Kip remembers a CD and just happens to be like right behind him.
Yeah. No, Nick, if you want something that's kind of like that Pagan Altar album this is absolutely legendary.
Yeah, I know that name. I'm sure my friends have played them for me, but I can't recall it. But yeah, I mean that style that right there that you played at the Friends of Phil had is definitely my style of doom outside of the MTV.
Might even like these other ones kind of turn
Okay,
into.
I've seen the cover on the left. It's like posted.
I've got those two, and I've got another compilation from Pagan Altar.
This one, do you have that?
Yep, that's the first one I got from before Shadow Kingdom. It was Evil Legend. I got it from that guy.
Yeah, then there's the time. Yeah, it's Terry Jones. But yeah, so that's my first pick. So hopefully they put out more albums. Hopefully it's not just like a one-off type thing,
Yeah. Who's next?
Who's next?
It'd be Pat.
All right, I'm gonna go with the non-metal pick in my list. I mean, it's got a metal relationship, sort of, but I don't have the CD here because we're in the process of renovating our entire house, so everything is packed up. So I've got this. It's Silent Skies, Nectar. It's basically, for all intents and purposes, like a piano vocal album, with some other instruments, but it's not metal. But it's Tom England from Evergrey, who I don't really listen to anymore, other than very seldom. But it's a band that I got turned on to about 3 years ago by a mutual friend of me and Jason when their debut came out. He told me about it and said, "Oh, you should check it out. It's something totally different." And I've always liked Tom England's voice. A lot of people really love it, and I think it's good, but sometimes it's too much for me. But in the last 3 years, I've gone back to this band more than Evergrey, which is obviously a bigger band as far as in the metal world goes. I just love it because it's something I can put on, and it's, as I'm doing stuff around the house, I can have it. I mean, I do it with other music too, but it's easy to just pass the time to. So it's something that when this album initially came out, I didn't like it anywhere near as much as their debut. But then over the course of the years, I listened to it. It hooked me in like that first album did. And not something that I go to a lot, but when I'm in the mood, I'll spin those two albums just nonstop for like a weekend. And he does have a great voice. So
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Nick.
I was just trying to look what Pat said in the text about picking this one. Do you remember what he said? Something about like you mentioned something about I don't know where it is now, but about like don't shoot me for this pick or something, or
yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
And something to the effect of Larson might be the only one that likes it.
You said something like don't shoot me for this pick, but I wish you would shoot me for making me listen to this. No, actually it wasn't that bad. It's just okay, the first song, I'm like, this is a cool little intro, awesome. It's kind of a pretty little ditty here. And then like another more 8 tracks that sounded a little too similar for me. It was just like it was a bit of a slog. I could totally appreciate the piano playing is great and the vocal melodies are great, but that's really tough for me to sit down and listen to a whole thing. And like you said, if it's in the background and you're doing stuff, but I'm just doing active listening, sitting down, trying to absorb it.
You were waiting for like the Midnight Betrothed where the piano playing was going, and then all of a sudden there's this dissonant shit and shrieking that comes in, and then it's like, oh shit, fucking
Yeah.
Silent Skies.
Yeah, so I think if you played me like a song or two of theirs at a time, I did something else or then came back. But yeah, just a sit down of the whole thing was a bit much for me. But I do definitely appreciate the talent that's going on there for sure. But you know, it's nothing I'm ever going to listen to on my own, especially for an entire album at a time. But I appreciate the pick and you making me, listen to something I never would have heard.
Yeah, I mean, I love Evergrey, always have. They've had their downs for sure. I think that past couple albums they've been, especially the one before the newest one, something Phoenix. It's escaping me right now, but
Right behind you.
yeah, there, Escape of the Phoenix. But his vocals, to me, every song when I listen to the album, The Silent Skies, I'm waiting for him to kind of go into on Solitude, Dominance, and Tragedy. There's a song, Words Mean Nothing, and he gets like super emotional. And honestly, I don't care what every time he does, it makes me, I don't know, like the hair on my neck stands up. He's just such an excellent vocalist. And that's kind of what I wanted with Silent Skies, is a lot of the songs were like, very well done. Like Nick said, the piano playing was great. The vocal melodies were great. I was just waiting for it to kind of not get heavy at all.
Right.
Climax, have a point, like an apex.
You were ready to come in. You wanted to come into a coffin.
Yeah.
It wasn't happening.
I just think that you could use his voice. I mean, his voice is so good that that's what I was waiting for, was kind of like in Words Mean Nothing when he says, God, this is gonna, I can't remember the one line. I can't even remember something about I could feel the flame or something. I can't remember. I'm looking at the lyrics right now, and oh yeah. So I placed the roses so gently on your grave, and I can still remember. I can feel the flames, and the way he says that. That's kind of what I wanted with Silent Skies.
You should check out on the first album. Just obviously, you're not going to run out and buy this album. Stream. It's not the last two, but it's the second to last two songs. Because to me, those are the best Silent Sky songs, where you get that kind of some of that power and even more emotion of Tom England. It's they're called Wall. The first one is Walls, and then Distance. But just play those two tracks, and to me, that's so far of the two albums, that's the best they've done. Like I said, this one early on, I was like, oh, it was kind of a letdown from the first album, but then I started to come back to it more and then listen to the first album. Then I'd come back to this one over the course of the year. I was like, oh shit, it's meeting that need that I have, which I never used to have a Tom England need, but I guess I do now that I'm over 50.
You're gonna come in his coffin.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any thoughts, Jay?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, first of all, on January 26th, I was invited to the Metal Hall of Fame. And that's when Twisted Sister was inducted, and Lou Gramm and Chris Impellitteri and Raven. And
Sounds like a night for Nick.
I thought you said it was a Metal Hall of Fame. What are those people doing in there?
So I went with my childhood buddy for 40 years. His name's Steve, and we're just watching the performances, and I turned to the bar, and there stands Tom England. And I turned to my buddy Steve. I'm like, dude, Tom England is right there. And he's like, who the fuck is Tom England? I'm like, I'm not even going to explain. So
And you
I
made a
went.
beeline to him.
I did. I not at that time. So about half hour later, I went up to him and I just said, I just want to tell you I'm a big Evergrey fan, and I saw you at Prague Power in Atlanta when you played In Search of Truth in its entirety, and I just wanted to say thank you. And then I said, how many people have come to you tonight? And he responded with, you're the only one. And I said, well, I just wanted to thank you. And we tipped we had a little toast, and that was pretty much it. And
Tell him
probably
listening to his album for a shitty podcast.
what's that?
You tell me to listen to a Silent Skies album for a shitty podcast?
No, I mean, I didn't know. This was before we chose
Okay.
the topic for this particular episode. So I'm just, if Patrick had done that, and I listened to it, I probably, would have ran to him and give him a hug. So yeah, I only listened to this album one time. I don't know what it is, but I mean, there's just things going on in my life, and I think track 2 is called Taper,
It is.
and I listened to it and I completely lost it, just looking into the future, and yeah, it got super emotional for me, and I'm like, I cannot listen to that song again, or else I've been crying way too much these last couple of years. So yeah, way too emotional for me. And that's the power of, Tom England, he's got a hell of a voice. It's so good. It's so good, especially on those
It
early.
sounds like you needed again to let that out.
Man, yeah.
Go seriously, check out the first album. Check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic voice. And like Nick said, the music's good, the piano playing's good, yeah, really good.
Just took you to a dark place you don't want to go back to anytime soon.
Yeah, it's a bunch of what ifs, I don't even want to get into
I like that this Gnarcast is becoming more of like a therapy session for Jason.
Seriously.
It's like 2 episodes in a row. But again, I appreciate your honesty, man.
I'm just holding on to this one person, and this person's doesn't want to be in my life right now. This person thinks they're doing me a favor by being distant. So
don't listen to that first Silent Skies album.
yeah. And the whole, like you said, it's a therapy session, and about how I just settled with my marriage. I settled, and I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to do that again.
I'm glad I didn't pick this before you met Tom England, because you might have been taken out of that place.
Yeah. Seriously. But yeah, it's just good. Love the guy's voice. He's got a good voice, man. And it just showed me that, wow, he can do other stuff besides metal.
Still,
he could.
I mean,
he could do top 40. Why? That's another great question. Why? You guys, why is this album not being played on contemporary stations? This thing could sell at least tens of thousands of albums. It's so accessible to other people in the public. Why is it so?
It's probably because it's on
underground.
Probably because it's on Nuclear Blast Records.
No, it's on Napalm.
It's on Napalm.
This one's on Napalm.
So crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's that good. and there's nothing metal about it at all.
Other than if you know who Tom England
It
is.
is, yeah.
And
Other
even
than
then, within metal, you're gonna have people that are like,
who is it?
Evergrey. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 Evergrey and a piano, or Tom and a piano. That's it. Yeah,
It's good.
in a wimpy ass 52-year-old math teacher from Southern California.
Uh,
Well, Nick, it's all you now.
all right.
No, it's
Wait,
is it?
Oh no, I got one. I got
Yeah.
one.
Jason.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
that's right. You were just so yeah. That was that seemed like
All
your
right.
session there because
Yeah. All right. The first one I'm gonna choose is I guess my newest band. I might have been listening to these guys for what is it now, March, maybe 5 months. And this band was requested from a friend of mine from the Haunt fan page, everybody's favorite. I know it's Patrick's favorite. He checks it out every day, as does Nick. I'm sorry, as does Erica. And I believe this band is from the Northeast. I think they're a Northeast band, but they're much more popular in Europe. They started out as a kind of like a stoner band, and they've developed into, God, almost like a Kansas Yes prog worship band. So I'm going to go see them in May. Looking forward to it. This is I'm going to call it my number 3 pick of 2022. And the name of the band is Elder. And the name of the album is Innate Passage. Gentlemen, Kip, what do you think?
Oh, dude, I love it. Absolutely love it. Catastasis. That's first track. I think it's the first track. That's my, the last album I heard was Dead Roots Stirring. So I heard that was the second one. So I've heard just those two, and then I know people have been just going completely nuts over these guys lately. And it was just one of those bands that I didn't listen to anymore not for any bad reason. It's just, they kind of, I was like, whatever. And some of these bands, some of the stoner bands they try to do the prog thing. And sometimes a lot of times for me, it just doesn't work. And it just sounds kind of like forced or corny, just a little fake. Not this. These guys this is just incredible. I mean, it has just about everything. I mean, all psychedelic, prog, 70s heavy rock. I mean, it's stoner. These guys absolutely.
But it's also not prog that's like, I can't even listen to it because it's
not noodly. It's not
yeah,
noodly.
it's because there's so many sub areas of prog that are painful to me.
Yeah.
yeah, I like what you were saying. Which album, the Friends of Hell was pretty 70s. I felt definitely 70s stuff on this, whereas prog without going too far down the rabbit hole of prog stuff for sure.
Yeah.
This was your blue hair pick, Jason.
Really?
Well, you're saying yes.
Okay.
Kansas,
I got you. Okay.
know.
Gotcha. Oh, totally. I think super influenced.
No, and Elder's a band that I knew of, but never knew. Like I didn't listen to them. So this was my first time actually listening to them. And I was totally surprised because I knew they were like a stoner band or, whatever. And then when I heard this, I was like, where's the stoner? But you had said,
The earlier
like,
albums.
you guys,
Totally the
you
earlier
and
albums.
Kip were saying, this is like, yes, and, I would totally own this album. I mean, I will own the album at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that Metal Archives is stupid, but why are they not on there? I mean, is it just too? It's not metal enough. It seems like it's pretty
It's
metal.
It's on Metal Archives.
I looked them up when I was listening to this. I couldn't find them.
Huh.
Yeah. It's
I never bothered to look. Oh, there you go.
The hell? I don't know. Okay, maybe.
Not older, it's elder. Not an O, Erica, it's E.
Now, Jason,
Older?
if you're into this type of stuff, I'm going to start sending you other bands that I think, like Birth. They just put a new album out. They're from San Diego. I think that you would be into that. It's kind of that throwback to
Yeah,
the 70s prog, but not, it's just done perfectly. And
Oh, where does it say elder's from?
Rhode Island, Massachusetts.
Okay, so I was right. And then now they're like settled in
Berlin.
Germany or something like that.
In Berlin now. I found it. I think I just fat fingered Elder like I always fat fingered everything else on my phone.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude,
I think it's super cool. I can't wait to see them because then school is out. So it's mid-May down in Santa Ana. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
What's that?
who are they playing with?
I don't even know. I think it's just them.
I told you this after I listened to this. You got to check out Clone from France.
Yeah,
They're not as they're a little more proggy, but they're still very accessible without all the noodling, in my mind. And that, because when I listened to this the first time, and especially listening to his vocals, I was like, oh, this reminds me of Clone, so check them out. Clone with a K. So it doesn't matter if you have fat fingers.
Okay. Unless you put in clan with a K and then
Yeah.
Clam.
clan.
Clam.
Oh, I thought you said clam.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the other. Birth used to be another band as well, a prog band that I have their albums, and I'll send them to you tonight. I think that you'll like them. I have them, but God, I'm just drawing a blank of what they broke up, and then they did Birth, and as soon as I heard this Elder, I was like, and you should check out like Samsara Blues Experiment. That's kind of another one that's like proggy, but guitar heavy, and no, I'm totally stoked that you're getting into this stuff.
It's weird because I went back then and listened to some of the older Elder, and I then was like, I like the new Elder better than the old Elder. Even though typically, traditionally, my style would have been the old Elder, even though I didn't listen to them back when those came out. I just knew the name, I knew the font, that kind of thing, but never paid any attention to them. It kind of blew my mind because you sent that picture where you were like 6 discs or something, or 5 discs or whatever. When you bought them, you're like,
Bottom, yeah.
Here's my latest thing. And it was like, I was like, I haven't even heard you mention this fucking band. And now you like dropped the load on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You paid what you would have paid for fucking Merciful Fate parking for those albums.
I'm sorry. Never gonna live that down.
No. This was excellent. I'm glad you are getting into this, and I think you'll be blown away. I'd love to see this live.
Yeah.
This album, especially that first song. I don't know. It just hooked me. Totally hooked me. So I'll say, other than the albums, other than the other two that you're gonna, Jason, that I own, the other two, and other than all the other album, this one I listened to absolutely the most. In fact, the other day when I was working, I listened to it. As soon as it ended, I just restarted it, listened to it again. I loved it. So excellent.
I think you're up, Kip. Or Nick.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna finish off our former Soviet state here of Czechoslovakia. We'll go to the Slovakian side now. This album, I've been trying to think all day of how to describe the sound of this. It's definitely atmospheric black metal. I kind of want to say hints of Agalloch, without the clean vocals necessarily of Agalloch, but just the nature aspect of it, the folkiness without being folk metal at all, but having a folk black metal feel to it. And that is, I'm gonna have to read the spine for this. A band called Obshar. The album Porchonili Hori, Porchonili Leasley.
Rolls off the tongue.
It does. It
Well,
just
I'm-
does.
I minored in Russian, so I get a little, it helps me out a little bit there. But anyhow, this album here, and I hadn't listened to it. I think it was never put it like, I can't remember where I ended up on my list, 10 or something. And when I listened to it again for the first time in a couple months, I don't remember it as fondly as I did when I listened to it back when it came out. I think this came out back like last March or something. I still really, really dug it. But I found myself like the second half kind of fell a little more flat than the first half, in my opinion. But it's still a very, very quality album, especially if you like that folk influenced black metal without again being, Ailstorm or or or, or
Hailstorm.
Arctone, or that. It's not that folky. It just has a naturist atmosphere to it.
I loved it. That was when I listened to your three albums. When I listened to this was one I was like, I'm buying this one because there's that song and it's on the back half that's apparently not as good with the female vocals thrown in. That's when like it clicked, and I did like Kip was talking about today. Once the album ended, I immediately went back and hit it again because I was like, I need to listen to this more closely. My copy should be coming in now about 65 days. So since it was a 70-day turnaround on Bandcamp, maybe it's about 60 now. So, but no, I love this album. I was
Great.
like, this one, again, like I said with your first pick, something I'd never heard of other than seeing when you typed it into the Brave board. Never heard of it, never heard of them, have no idea what to expect. Also knew it would be a little more accessible since you didn't want to make Larson hate his life.
Yeah.
And I thought that was true because it was,
Mhm.
and well, I'll say it about all three, but actually your first choice and this one, to me, they're albums that like I have to almost listen to them in their entirety. It's not like, let me listen to 2 tracks and then be done. It's like I gotta just listen to it through because it just, the way those albums flow, this one in particular, is perfect to me. And I love Agalloch, so
Yeah,
I did.
you know what I mean. It's there, but it's not a direct.
Yeah, it's not like this doesn't sound like Agalloch, but it's got, they're a relative, they're a second cousin or something,
Sure.
I wrote down my favorite track, number 5. I don't know how you say Chervin Sans.
Nailed it. Yeah, I mean that was.
The hell
You
that
nailed
means,
it.
but really cool stuff. It's insane how much of this shit is out there because of like your list. You and our buddy Rocky Dennis, his list is just chock full of bands with all
It's like an
and
it's like an unabridged dictionary.
yeah, and I'm just like, what the and I go through and I listen, and it blows my mind that this stuff exists because you don't really hear about it in terms of the more known mainstream metal stuff, but this is really good as well. Bran is still my favorite, like out of the 3 that you had. But this was really cool as well. And I like how it wasn't, the songs are very normal length.
Yeah.
Like 20-minute epics, every single one. They were like 4.5 minutes, whatever.
Yeah, 3 minutes and then boom on.
Yeah. So I dug it a lot.
And I really in the last 5 years, I've really been getting into more of the Eastern European stuff, as you guys probably know. And if you know anything about any of the Czech sound, the Romanian sounds, this will be right in your wheelhouse. Larson, you loved it, right? You bought it?
No, I have not bought this one. I would put this one at number 3 if I can remember the sounds of it. But like I said, all 3 of Nick's picks, I think a year ago, I'm just listening to them at once and setting them aside, you know,
Was it
three times.
was it the lyrics that also got to you? The lyrics for the title track? Bilaura Zemilia sto davno shkornila. Ori ilisli kone na hruda nosila. Does that speak to you?
Please excuse me. Please excuse me.
You had Larson. You grabbed him initially because he thought it was popcorn.
Popcorn. Yeah. I thought it was popcorn nilly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, when I think Pat mentioned the female vocals, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, I'm just happy your your horizons are expanding like that. That's great.
So yeah, these black bands, when they incorporate just the other genres, you know, it's digestible.
Yeah,
for sure.
sweet.
Thank you.
That's what I'm here for, Larson.
We'll move on to my second. We'll get through this one so Nick won't be so tortured. So newer thrash to me
Isn't good.
yeah, it's been better lately, I think, with certain bands. But there's so much of it that comes out, and sometimes I just get bored with it, and it just doesn't have that same feel. But these fuckers from Belo Horizonte, Brazil, old school connection to Sepultura with Yairo, Tormentor. I saw this. It was produced by Troops of Doom, but it was mixed by Peter from Hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, and mastered by Jonas Kjellgren, who I think is Carnal Forge. I think the dude from, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but this came out. I love the artwork, and then when I heard the lead off track, Dethroned Messiah, Jesus Christ, dude. It's like thrash metal. Throw some Celtic Frost in there. It's old school. Troops of Doom, Antichrist Reborn. Gyro looks awesome. I mean, it's just killer packaging. The production's great. The solos are great. I mean, it's just an old school thrash album updated in 2022, and I'm actually super pumped. You know, looking forward to more stuff from these guys, for sure. And this is something that definitely they've had 2 EPs, The Rise of Heresy, The Absence of Light. Those are the 2 EPs before this. As soon as this, and I do need to get those. This is the first one I got of theirs, but this just rips. I mean, my God. Far From Your God, Altar of Delusion, The Rebellion, Deserters from Paradise. I mean, they even do The Usurper as a bonus track. Just killer, man. Just a great old school thrash album. So I know I probably tortured Nick listening to this, but
Yeah, I'll just say my piece and move on. I fucking could not stand this shit, man. To me it sounded like this thrash paint by the numbers, old man, like a bunch of dudes in their late or mid 50s. They look at least in their mid 50s. I didn't look up their age, but they look actually older than that. Sorry, people that are 52 here, but yeah, I mean, it's just dudes. I don't know. I really struggled with this one. I found nothing redeemable to say. It's just like okay, I've heard this before. Like, I mean, I guess we can all say that about almost anything these days, right? But I don't know, just rehash thrash that, like, it just sounded like I could be listening to any other fucking old man thrash band. I love you, buddy.
What I like about it is it's, you know, will I buy it? Maybe. And it was my least favorite of your 3 picks, which is weird because I love thrash. I mean, that's kind of what, but my thrash also ends for the
Mhm.
most part by 91, 92 at the latest, because then everything else that followed wasn't to that level. What I like about it because it is that it's still got that dirty, it's a more, to me, a more European sound. It's not, you don't listen to it and like I could listen to this and go, these guys are not from America. I can tell
Mhm.
by hearing it. Plus, just knowing that lineage of him, to me, that's just a bonus. That's would I think of it, or would I check it out if I didn't know that? Probably not. But that's a hook for me because it's like, oh, I want to hear this because that guy's semi-legendary, in thrash. So and I did enjoy it. I liked it and I've listened to it probably 6-7 times, but I like it because it's not, it sounds great to me, but it's not polished.
Yeah.
Just it's got good production. And
That's a great point, actually. I do give you that. Yeah, it is clean, but not slick.
yeah.
And it's on Alma Mater Records, which is Fernando from Moonspells, his new label. So
Oh, that's why you picked it.
what do you say, Jason?
Sepultura Jr. I mean, my God, it was so good to listen to in the gym. Yeah. I mean, and I'm the blue hair thrash guy. So
Larson,
Guys.
it's okay for you to listen to our albums outside of the gym.
I do. They're in the car.
or when you're commuting,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
move beyond those two realms.
Yeah, for sure. But now I forgot what I was going to say.
Sepultura Jr.
Yeah,
Listening to him in the gym gets you pumped up. You saw Hyro at the heavy metal awards and you went and talked to him and no one else recognized him.
Oh, Pat was talking about all the neo thrash and how it's just oversaturated, and I kind of agree with that. If I was buying every thrash band in existence, I'd have a 10,000 CD collection. But there are those handful of the newer thrash bands that I like. I'm throwing this one in there. I dig Suicidal Angels. That's another one of my favorite newer thrash bands. Havoc's okay. But yeah,
Pizza
right on.
thrash.
What's that?
Pizza thrash.
Pizza Threat.
Yeah. Lich King, we'll put them at the top too, only because we love our cheese. And but yeah, great pick. Like it, Kip. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Hyro had a band.
And it's, the thing is, they're not reinventing the wheel. I think that they that's what I like about it. It sounds like four dudes just got together and to me just wrote a fun thrash album, but it's dirty. It's kind of mean. It's got it's got that Morbid Visions feel
to it. Yeah.
Which I like. And, it could easily, even with the album cover, it could easily be a death metal album or black metal,
That's what I thought at first when you put that up. I thought it was going to be death.
And
The other thing that I thought was kind of funny was, and then when I was looking them up to see who else was in the band, that they're actually the Troops of Doom, not Troops of Doom, because there's like 4 other Troops of Doom, but they are the Troops of Doom.
Yeah.
The Ohio State.
And also, but I mean, I love the name of the band for the obvious reason of the Sepultura song that he was on, because that's one of my favorite early Sepultura tracks. So, when you picked it, I was like, and you'd mentioned Sepultura, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember reading something about this guy doing something else,
Yeah, he showed up and played a few old school songs with Max. I don't know if Igor was there, maybe. But it was just recently, and it was just killer. I don't know. But yeah.
Dig the pick. Great pick. Love it. Sorry, Nick. My my blueness is.
You're good.
Well, you're up, Pat.
All right. I'm gonna go with a band that I'd never heard of till maybe, well, it would have been maybe last year. Kip, you'd actually mentioned them, and I was thinking about it, and I checked them out, and I was like, shit, I like this stuff. This is good. And I bought the album, and I bought the previous album, and the more I listened to it, and when I was making my year-end list, I was looking at like, what albums did I listen to the most and not only did I listen to the most, but that I really enjoyed. And it was, let me see if I can pull it up here. It's a band from Germany called Allende. And the album, I'm gonna shoot out the title here of the album. So it's Ellenbogen Gesellschaft. Rolls off the tongue.
I like you guys were making fun of my album choice names, and
Yeah, and I threw it into Translate the other day. I meant to text you guys this.
I love that cover art, by the way. It's so cool.
Yeah, the cover
Yeah,
art. Yes, Pat, go ahead and talk and then throw the cover art on there so we can see it.
Oh.
Ellenbogen Gesellschaft.
Ellenbogen Gesellschaft.
Means
Yep.
elbow company.
Yeah, right there.
Right, but
You see it, Jason? Do you see it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I appreciate I appreciate wild hogs.
The boar with like the Victorian collar, so good.
Wild boar.
But their other art, the first three albums are also awesome.
I bought the
Skeleton.
previous album, and I love that cover because it's got the kind of
like the World War One
like skeleton soldier, kind of
and the
like
skeleton with the cello, so cool.
yeah. And what I like about it is, to me, again, it's in the black metal realm but to me, it's super accessible. My wife would say, fucking turn that shit off. It's like just kind of screeching or whatever. But to me, this is like easy listening in the black metal realm, so to speak. And to me, this album, the first half, I like it. But the second half, Someday, Friar Fall, it picks up. And there's something, it has a little emotional change to it. And it happens to me every time I'm listening to it, and I'm kind of like, okay. And then that second half kicks in and it checks all the boxes for me. It's got melody, but it's still raw.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd never heard of it until last year. I'd never heard of the band. And like I said, when Kip had mentioned them, I checked it out and I immediately bought those two albums, this one and the previous.
Yeah. I've known of this band for 4 years or something, whenever the cello album came out, the cello's cover, because they were posted on the board a lot. I'm like, that cover's so fucking cool. And then the next album came out, that cover, I'm so cool. I didn't just listen to this, not knowing anything about him. I never ever did. Now I'm kicking myself in the pants because after hearing that, I haven't yet, but I'm gonna buy their whole discography. It's like they have 4, right? I think
so.
Yeah. I hate the term post black metal.
Yeah, I saw that. When I looked him up, I saw that and I was like, to me, that doesn't.
But I can hear it. I can hear it, but like,
but to me, I think more about like what's the
Sunbather.
No, not yeah, sure, yeah, Death Heaven, but
Yeah.
no, not them. What's the French band? Alcest.
Alcest. Yeah.
And to me, it does. To me, it sounds nothing like that.
it doesn't.
It has those very certainly melodic and clean and emo-esque without being whiny. I don't know how to even describe it. It definitely, I could see why people put post black metal on it, but it's not. It just has, like you said, second cousins to it. Like there's some similarities, but it's not. It definitely doesn't fall under the post black metal. But I love that. I thank you for finally making me listen to them, because I've wanted to for the last couple of years now since that second album came out. So I will.
Well, thank Kip, because Kip's the one that, like, whenever sometime last year mentioned it, and I was like, I checked it out, and I was like,
well, actually, I'm gonna thank Larson just for no reason. How about that?
Perfect.
Excellent. My top track was Hand Off's Hairs So that's number 4. So it's actually right before it goes to the back half of the album.
Hand of Hairs.
Hand auf Herz. So it's like hand over heart, I think.
It's probably something like that.
Yeah, because Herz is heart and auf is, I don't know.
But yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't think I always think post black metal is like it's not as heavy as this.
Yeah, because to me this had a more heavy than Alcest or
Mhm.
And I know again, not to bring it out again, but people think, the Ashes album is a definition of post. And it did remind me, the clean parts remind me of Ashes quite a bit too,
Mhm.
but not the heavy parts.
No, this was like right up my alley. And I remember sending it to you guys only because I know Nick and Pat, like you guys would be into this more. And it came up in my YouTube feed. I think it was on Black Metal Promotion or something. And it was actually the album cover that got me because I thought, oh, okay, a little interesting.
It's funny that you say Black Metal Promotion, because that's where I find like 80% of my,
Midnight Betrothed.
yeah, that's where I find a lot of my shit. That you're like, where do you find this?
Is
Through
it-
Black Metal Promotion, and they links me to their Bandcamp.
Yeah, but this was one of them. I'm pretty sure it was one of them that I saw on there. And this is one that I wrote down. I'll probably get it soon. I got to be in the right mood for it. So probably come fall, that's when I usually do my big black metal haul. So
When do you do what season is your post black metal?
it'd be after that. So it'd be more winter.
But it's a little lighter, so like spring,
Early spring, yeah, early spring.
like this time.
Wait, that's Woods of Ypres season.
Woods is every season.
Good answer.
No, another good one. Jason, you're up.
I'm up. My number 2 for 2022. I believe this band is is it Scotland?
Yep.
And Kip introduced an album of theirs in a episode last year. I forgot what the topic was, and I want to say maybe this band could be my gateway black metal band. They put out an album obviously last year. Last song, I don't know, it just hit me and it caused me to buy it, listen to the whole thing through. And I don't know, maybe these guys are my rush of black metal, if you want to call it that. But yeah, that would be Saor or Soar or Soar or
I've read it
Saor.
as, yeah, I've read that it's like sewer almost, but not like
That's not good. That's not good. No, we don't want that, Nick. I'm not even going to pretend I
Sewer.
heard that.
Not
No,
sewer, but sewer.
There's
Yeah,
that
it's your Kip sent that thing with the guy from Lord of the Rings, and he said it's
Goonies, yeah.
sewer. It's sewer.
Yeah, Sean Astin. He was like, oh, my good buddy from one of the guys, I think, from Lord of the Rings. One of the other hobbits that played him. He was like, yeah, he told me about this band, and it's Sur.
Sewer.
Now
Sewer.
So yeah, the last song, title track, Origins, just puts the whole album together. I in the text I was using the word triumphant, and I don't know, even I was getting a little misty-eyed on that too. So
Mhm.
That last track, Jason, actually
Fantastic.
reminds me. There's a piece on that last track. There's a section that totally reminds me of Woods of Ypres.
yeah,
The third album. There's something on it, but different though from the last couple albums to a degree. Would you say, Kip?
Yeah, no, I think so. Nick, I think you said something about it too, that it's
Yeah.
a little
Maybe-
more forward.
Yeah.
Maybe more accessible black metal for, blue hairs like me.
I don't think it was
I
that.
don't know.
I don't think it was much more accessible. I don't think it was necessarily as fucking fuck me for saying this, but it's not necessarily as epic as their previous albums. But still not. It's not accessible to anyone. I mean, I guess maybe it is to you, which is saying something, but it's still pretty raw, blistering, fast-paced black metal with the Scottish folk elements to it.
I don't know, but it's so good.
I love it. I think you'd like every album.
Dude, the first two, if you want to talk about Misty Eyed, I can't remember if I think it's the second one, and there's this not a flute obviously, but some type of like a wood pipe recorder thing that just kind of comes up every couple of minutes in this 10-minute song. And it just, every time that melody comes in, I just I bring the tissues out, not to jerk off, but to cry. And it's just, and
Yes.
Andy Marshall is a talented motherfucker.
Yeah.
He writes 10-minute songs that don't feel 10 minutes again. You get so absorbed in them, and it's nasty, it's gnarly, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The first time I got it, I actually bought their first album. I still have it. You can get the first one, I think, when
they were called something else.
Yeah, but I have it as it's like our
yeah.
Oh yeah. It's they changed it in 2013 due to problems with the accented A. I guess it means ancient or archaic, but you can literally get it. It's just that. It's just roots. So
but you have it with that cover, with that logo.
yes.
Sweet. It's probably worth a lot now on Discogs or something.
Let me grab it here really quick.
Look, he had to walk. He wasn't right behind him.
Walk
He had
into
to
the
go
other
to-
room, Nick. Way to go, Nick.
There you go.
Yeah. So when that came out, when they would do it under Sewer, it was just a rebranding. But that was the only album they had at the time.
Yeah. I can't even remember where I got this, honestly. Yeah, but it's funny because there's a song on it called Sursa.
Yeah.
But Jason, if you like the new one, you'll like all of them. Honestly, Forgotten Paths is my favorite.
Yeah, that's the one that you
That's
brought
the
up.
one that was on another episode. Yeah.
Have you heard Askval, his previous band before this?
No, I have not.
Yeah, they only have one album, and it's also really good. It's not as folky, but it's also great. Anything that Andy Marshall's touched, I've enjoyed. And Jason, if you like these guys, you should give Panopticon a try from the States.
Okay. I've heard the name.
Yeah.
I've actually heard the name.
Yeah, there you go. I think you would like what's the one after Kentucky? I don't know if you guys know, but
No, it's
Paths to the North or something.
yeah.
Autumn Eternal, one of those. You might like it. It's kind of very similar. And actually, in fact, I think the guy from Panopticon played drums on Sewer's third album. So
He might actually like, if he likes like that, I don't know how you say it, Nick Knockven or
Chachwin, I don't know.
Beethoven.
yeah, you might like that too. This is like if Sur is like Scottish folk, this is like Appalachian folk with black metal.
All
It's
right.
different, but yeah.
Jason, if you check out Panopticon, don't do Kentucky first.
No?
I wouldn't say first, because it's got that total bluegrass element jammed through it. You know what I mean? To me, it's much more in your face.
Oh, I see. That was the first album I heard from him. And
No, I think that's my favorite one, but
Or would you say that?
if you're
that's good. Or the Paths to the North is, but it's the same thing, just 10-12 minute long songs, pretty blistering, but beautifully arranged and great melodies with some, folk stuff in there. That's again, not cheese folk.
Yeah, just get all the Sword albums, dude. It's
I'm so proud of you that you chose this. That made me so happy.
yeah, it's
I know.
excellent.
Yeah.
He also has another more like straight black metal project now. Do you like it, Nick? That Fuath or whatever.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, they have just 2 albums, just titled 1 and 2. I like the first one a lot. The second one was okay.
Yeah, that guy's awesome, dude.
Yeah. I'm just starting to worry he's got too many projects and too many releases, and I guess start burning the candle there, both ends, creatively wise.
He needs to talk to Trevor Church, figure out how to put out an album every other hour. Prolific. No, dude, this is a really good pick. Beyond the Walls, my favorite song off Origins. I just think it's a killer band. I'll send you there's a live show they did. I think it was right after Forgotten Paths. And dude, it is.
Didn't they play the Fire in the Mountains in Wyoming?
Yeah,
they did.
My buddy Anthony went out to that and saw that.
Wow.
I wanted to go to that.
Yeah. Yeah, but this live show, yeah, it was right after Forgotten Paths, dude, and they just nail it. It's just awesome, man. It's so good. So
Cool.
All right. Is it my third one?
I think your number, yeah. We're in the last third.
All right. Finnish band here. It's funny because I bought this thinking it was a different band that I have. Apparently, I have their album previous to this, and I didn't recognize the name because I listened to the previous album once. I didn't like it very much at all. I was pretty disappointed in it. But then the logo is clean on this one. The other one, it was, you can't read at all what it's saying, and the artwork's totally different than the previous album. And this album I fucking loved. If you like the Finnish sound, you definitely get hints of Moonstar without the epicness, which also kind of relates to Havu Krunu, which is also Finnish, but it's not as rock and rolly as Havu Krunu. There are definitely some taste fuck keys, as we say on the board. If you like 5-minute length epics, but still epic black metal bands with taste fuck keys, especially that first track. As soon as that first track came on, that little hook in the keyboard there with I also like it when they have the keyboards have that astral sound or celestial sound, as Rocky Dennis likes to say. It's a band called Norhem.
I love that cover.
Yeah,
I love that cover.
me too. That's what I bought. I'm like, I'm gonna almost buy that just off the artwork, and then I bought it. I'm like, oh shit! I put it in my collection. I'm like, oh wait, I already own one by these guys. And the album is Elankera. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't reinvent the wheel at all, but it's just, if you want well written, sweetly crafted, simple melodies, but still badass black metal with the way I did it. What I like about this album so much is, again, the keyboards. The guitars are doing fine, but the keys come in with just this like little tinkling over the top of it, and it just kind of makes changes the whole atmosphere of the songs, and just makes the song stand out incredibly. Vocals are just traditional black Finnish metal vocals. This would have been higher if I listened to it more before putting my list out. I think it ended up like it's 8 or something.
I enjoyed this one the most out of the 3.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
I even remember some of the riffs, because it just, once again, it borrows from other genres. This isn't just 100% straight black metal.
No.
There's one guitar riff in the back of my head, and if I can remember, it is from this album. So, I've ingested a lot of black metal here in the past 5 weeks. That's a cool band. That's the album that I might be buying.
Wow.
That's the one.
Good for you.
Yeah.
If you look at the Metal Archives page, the picture of them, they look like the biggest fucking bunch of dorks.
Perfect.
Oh
I fit right
they
in.
look like a bunch of like 19-year-olds who just discovered black metal like last week.
Right on. I will gladly contribute to their cause. Right on.
My top track is I'm gonna attempt it.
Do it. Do it.
Oh yeah, that picture is roughneck. That is a rough picture.
Wait, let me see, Pat. Let me see.
All right. There you go. Can you see it?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, that is rough. Like if I'd have seen that, it would have been a no listen.
See the name of
Seriously, like, what's that old meme of like those guys like running through the cul-de-sac with their like Burzum shirt on and stuff? That's almost what they look like there.
yeah.
Yeah.
This track. See Caxi Pokua Rolamon. I don't
Cock'em Rollamon?
yeah. Oh, it's very, very cool stuff. It's my least favorite of the three you chose, but that doesn't mean that it's bad.
Yeah, it's no Troop of Doom bad.
Yes, if that's what you're trying to say. But this is one that I listened to it like twice. The other ones of yours I listened to more.
Yeah.
Really need to go back to and listen to it a little more. I do like the cover art. I don't know, the colors of it and just the way it looked.
Yeah, it's super vibrant and it like you see it like if I was, you know, seeing that on a shelf and like I want a black metal album and I saw that. If I saw the band, like I said, nope, buying it. But if I saw that cover, I'd be like, I'm getting this. I'm
Yeah.
getting this because the cover is just fucking awesome.
It's awesome. So, well, I can move on to my third. It was digital when it came out, and I finally been waiting on a CD version of it, but I'm ordering the vinyl just to have it because I'm
Still
just
no CD?
what's up? Yeah,
Still no CD?
you know, Metal Archive says that there's a CD version, but I've never heard of the label. I'll have to look into it. I don't know if it's like a legit version of it. I really hope that it comes out. I'm a huge fan of this guy. I'm a huge fan of his other band, Rotting Christ. I don't think they have one bad album as far as I'm concerned. This, as soon as I saw that he was coming out with his solo debut, I was all over it and absolutely blown away by just how cool this is. It's catchy. It's not so much like newer Rotting Christ. It's got that kind of mid-era, a Dead Poem, Sleep of the Angels style to it. Where
What's
it's
funny though, Kip, is that's not mid-era. That's like they had 3 albums and then they did that. Then they've had 10 more after that.
I guess for me that I kind of consider it mid because they started out like early,
Yeah.
like 80s.
I
Like
know. Yeah, you know what I'm saying though. It's just funny. That's not really
yeah,
mid.
100%. It's weird because when I think of Triarchy of Lost Lovers, I think that is early era, but that's only like right before.
Yeah.
So, and I guess mid era would be more, whatever. You're absolutely right.
But back when they were big, like in 2000, like that's when that was, or like mid 2000s, that was their mid-era. It's funny.
Yeah, but this is Sakis Tolis, Among the Fires of Hell.
Also awesome cover art.
Oh, dude, it rules. I love the cover art. His vocals are some of my favorite ever in heavy metal. I'd put him probably in my. I think I did a top 10 vocalist before, maybe, I don't know, but he would definitely be top 10 or top 15 vocalist. We the Fallen Angels, that's my top track on the album. Pretty sure he did everything, and I think it was over COVID that he did this. He does a song on the new Insomnium, which I still have sitting back here somewhere. He's on a track, White Christ, I think he's on this one.
Yeah, it is.
and the guy's just awesome, man. His voice still sounds great.
So I do need to add one thing in here while I was researching this. He did not do everything. He didn't do the drums, but it wasn't by his brother, it was by a guy named Fotis Bernardo. And I clicked on him, and this made me laugh so fucking hard. This drummer is a band called Metal Against Coronavirus.
I thought you were gonna say he was a drummer in a band called Graham Edge.
No, Metal Against Coronavirus. And they have 3 compilations, each called Destroy the Beast, volume 1, 2, and 3.
Oh my God.
So
Thank you for that. 'Cause I'm looking, it does say he does everything, but yeah, drums is not on here. So
now I kind of want to check out Metal Against Coronavirus.
I don't know.
Wait, what about-
if the Norham band pick turned me off,
Yeah.
that title turns me off.
Well, what about Metal Against Anthrax, Nick?
I started that band.
This album, like I remember Kip being super excited when it came out. Like I think you posted about it, you texted about it, and when I listened to it, I was like, "Fuck!" The reason Kip likes this, and this was my thought, was because this reminds me so much of Moonspell to me, like the vocals, everything, like the level of heaviness reminds me of all those Moonspell albums, and there's times this album, like I really like it and I would buy it if it's out on CD. I'm not going to get the vinyl. I would totally buy it on CD. But it also, just when I start the album, first and second song in particular, because it's got the speaking at the beginning, and that always makes me chuckle, when he's like, I was walking among the fires of hell, delighted by the enjoyment of the genius. Because it reminds me of, because those kind of things take me back to shit from the 80s, like Pile Driver, Witch Hunt, where he's like, I, the Pile Driver, high priest of the Metal Inquisition, or else like Warrior, that where would we be without the ability to let our minds wander? Those kind of things, So I hear that shit and I chuckle, and then I get drawn back into the music because it ends.
But it's so much cuter. It's so much cuter with that Greek accent of his.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a great album and it's super accessible. This is a band like, I think a lot of people that don't even like metal could like it because it's just super listenable,
Dude, when I first played it, my kids are probably sick of hearing it, but it's not because of me, because I had it on one day and my wife never said anything. And I came home one day and Katie was I walked in, I was like, the fuck is
who's playing Sakastolis?
Yeah. And she was like, who is this? This is amazing. And then I was like, oh, he's from Rotting Christ. And so I started playing some of the Rotting Christ stuff and
the early albums.
Yeah. No, I played Try or Kill Lost Lovers, and she was like hooked. And I was like, wait a minute. You like this and Rotting Christ? And she's like, oh yeah, this is incredible. And
does she like Moonspell?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moonspell connection there is good. It's that same sound. And yeah, I'm so pissed off because how long has this album been out? Since like April or something?
Yeah, it's been
and
out.
It's like within the first minute, I'm like, okay, this sounds like a dead poem. I'm buying it immediately.
Yeah.
Because I'm buying this because like Rotting Christ has never gone back to that sound after those 2 albums. And then is it Season of Mist or is this independent?
It's independent, but
why is it Season of Mist not release this?
I don't know. And I think if I look at the other versions, I think
who's putting out the vinyl?
Flogo Records. They did.
I love them.
Oh, here, let me get my Flogo anthology here.
They got some cool stuff on that label. Believe it or not, but they put out only the vinyl and the cassette version of it, and I was just kind of like, "Ugh, okay, whatever, you know,
Cassette?
yeah, I don't want the cassette version, you know, like I want straight up the CD. And it's funny that you bring up the Moonspell connection, Pat, because on A Dead Poem, Fernando is on Among Two Storms. I think he does guest vocals on that from Moonspell. But yeah, no, good call, Nick. It is really heavy into this. So, Jason, if you like this, because I can't wait to hear your thoughts, I think you should check out that because it's literally like this.
It's like he uncovered 10 songs from that era that he never recorded and then just put them down.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I know nothing about Rotting Christ. I don't think I've ever even listened to a song all the way, one song. So I know nothing about Sakis Tolis. And when I played this, I was instantly hooked. Not because he sounded like Moonspell, because I texted the guys and I don't know, because it's because of the t-shirt I'm wearing tonight. I think he sounds like Ron Royce. I think he's a dead ringer at times.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I gotta think about that.
Huh. I mean,
Okay.
there's
You're gonna
been some
keep us all-
lines where,
You're gonna keep us all up at night tonight.
I know.
yeah,
I'll wake up in the middle. I'll wake up in the morning like, shit, I gotta go to work. Oh no, I gotta listen to all the Coroner albums and see if Sakis Tolis sounds like Ron Royce.
I think that's what I got from it. So now Rotting Christ has he changed his vocal style?
No.
Or is this the
This-
voice that Rotting Christ sounds like?
Yes, this is him.
God damn, I got a lot of albums to listen
Yeah,
to.
yeah. I mean, he does more variations and especially more modern Runner Christ.
Mhm.
And the first 3 albums, it's a little more rough, but it's not too dissimilar at all.
Yeah, this
I agree. I agree. I think
This was-
especially the early stuff is definitely, you probably want to stay away from the early stuff. But I
You can still understand what he's saying though, even though he has a thick accent. But his vocals are harsh, but they're still clean.
but that's why I love Greek black metal so much, because this is indicative. Like a lot of Greek black metal kind of sounds like this, like Rotting Christ, not more like Sakis, but it's got just like a different feel to it, a different sound. That's why it's probably my favorite out of any black metal scene. But his vocals have always been, I mean, they're so distinct to me.
They're almost like hardcore vocals, in my opinion.
What's
Like
up?
almost like hardcore straight edge vocals at times.
Yeah, it's
Like because they're more like that kind of like chanty and like with the rhythm as opposed to just like getting lyrics out. They're kind of they have a cadence to them.
absolutely.
So yeah, out of all the 9 discs that I listened to, this one's the top. This is fantastic.
God damn it, Kip one.
I can't wait. I want to know his bottom.
What's your bottom?
Probably Friends of Hell.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bookended it for
If
Jason.
is the bookend, yeah, it's like
But I mean, Sakis Tolis now, now there is for those of us that don't know, there is a teaching strategy that our district is asking us to do called it's called capturing kids' hearts. And one of the strategies is to greet the students at the door. So I do this every period, and I play music in between periods as the kids walk in and give them the fist bump. And
I thought
I'm
you were
like-
gonna say like they walk in and you say, I was walking among the fires.
I'm playing Sakis Tolis in between periods, you guys. This is a cool album. And if it was on CD, like Patrick said, I'd own it.
Yeah, I'm looking on Discogs now, and it says Metal Hammer and Heavy Metal. So I don't know. I always kind of defer to the Metal Detector, that website. I try to get on
Yeah,
there,
there's nothing on there. Nothing.
and that's why any of this other stuff to me like doesn't seem legit. If it's on the Metal Detector, or I know that he said on his Facebook or whatever, because a lot of people, it's not just us, a lot of people are like, dude, put the fucking CD out. Like, we want the
Right.
CD.
Yeah, give me the disc.
I know he said that, oh, eventually I think so I was kind of hoping that eventually Napalm would pick it up. Would you think that, I can't remember which one of you said it, maybe Nick,
Seasons of Mist.
the Seasons of Mist. Yeah, like why they wouldn't just, that tends to be the thing. Like if your band's on a label and you put out a solo album, they're kind of more willing to say, yeah, we'll put that out. We'll give you, so especially this, because it's amazing and I haven't heard anything bad about it yet. So, but we'll move to Pat's final.
All right, this is one that was actually ended up being my top album of the year. And it only crept into that spot in the last month or so, 2 months of the year about. And this one, I hate to say this, that Nick turned me on to this. And, I just gave it a shot because I don't know, I don't even remember what he said about it. But I was grilling one night,
I
went
said
out.
it's gonna rip your dick off.
Yeah, it's not the same kind of dick ripper. It's more of like a
With
it's
a
a
slow
it's,
rip. It's a very
it's
slow.
it's a very torturous long dick rip. It's like
Like a
it just
dick.
gets stretched and stretched over
40
years
minutes.
and then it finally plays. But anyway,
Fillets.
I was grilling one night and I put it on and I was listening to it, and it was one of those things that within a few minutes of the album starting, I was like, oh shit, this is really good. I'm not gonna just turn it off. I'm listening to this. And by the third song, the goosebumps had already come and gone. And then I was getting like almost emotional. I was getting, I guess I would call it falconerized, like Nick gets. And I was like tearing up when I listened to it. And then I just couldn't get enough of it. And I immediately went out and ordered the album, ordered the previous album, even though Nick had said it's not as good. It's good, but not as good as this one, I think.
Sounds totally different, actually, to me.
Yeah. And I hardly ever go back to the first album. I always come back to this one. And that's depending on how you type, it's either Loon, or if you have fat fingers, it's Line. Loon.
Yeah, done line.
Hymns to the Lunar Realm. It's 4 tracks. I mean, I don't know where you can get it besides Bandcamp. I'm sure there's some other things, but God, it's like when Larson was talking about, which album did you say was triumphant sounding?
Oh, Origins.
Yeah,
This
this to me is a different triumphant, because it's like it starts and it's like a steady march of like triumphant sounding music, and each track it just kicks into the next track and it's the same feel, and to me the whole album does not let up. Third track is my favorite song, but fuck, this thing is just awesome, and I don't know any other bands that sound like this, Nick, so you got to tell me if there's any other bands that sound like
I never have at all. I've never heard anything like this.
And I assumed that they were French by the name Loon, but they're not. They're from us, or he.
Austria.
I think it's one person, right?
Yeah.
Yep, from Australia.
I thought it was Austria.
No, it's Australia, dude.
Australia.
Shit,
Which is even weirder to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite track's the third one, Stardust.
Yep. Stardust Elysium. Yep.
It was not as, there's a band that I know I've sent to maybe Nick, maybe all of you guys, that's also from Australia, and it's Masartham.
Yeah, you sent me that.
Really kind of reminds me of Loon a lot. You might want to check them out.
How do you spell that?
It's like Mesarthim, and it's kind of in the same vein. Mesarthim is like a little more spacey. It's not as I want to say Loon. This makes any sense. It's more like medieval sounding with the keys and stuff.
Mhm.
But it gave me that same feel that it was just like huge.
Yeah.
The songs are long and it's,
But
God, this when you crank this up, it's just incredible to me. Every time I listen to it, like I've never like every now and then you'll be listening to an album and you're like loving it, and then you hit a point where you're just like, okay, I'm gonna move on to something else now. This one, I hate it. If like I'm getting ready to walk into work and I'm like got 5 minutes left on the last track, I'm like, fuck. And I get up to my office and I finish that last 5 minutes in the office, and it's sucks because I'm playing it on my phone, so it doesn't have that same.
it's raw, but it actually sounds pretty good, pumped up. It's actually got good shitty production, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is another album that was posted somewhere. I clicked on it, and then as soon as the fucking first chord hit with the choir, I paused it, went right to Bandcamp and bought it. Like, done.
Yep.
So if we're talking about like how it's hard, I said earlier, it's hard for bands to sound unique, but I've fucking never heard anything like this, which is why we did Midnight Betrothed last year. Like, I love bands. The more as time goes on,
they're Australian too.
yeah, they're Australian too. And the more like
Australia is the new thing.
Yeah, I guess so. But the more CDs I get, the stuff that I'm really fucking loving is stuff that just I've actually never heard of this before. It's that I have a couple thousand CDs and nothing in there sounds remotely like that.
Mm.
Okay, I can't say remotely, but like we haven't even described what it sounds like to people. But if you like summoning, but without the programmed drums and the marching drums pattern, there's actually a hi-hat and snare. It's probably programmed, but the whole time behind it is just this vast, mostly female choir, not unlike Therion, but without the classical composition of it. It's just more like repetitive.
It's a march. It's the slow pull. It's the slow rip.
Yeah, but it's not like summoning where it has that like steady like marching snare drum, but it's just these songs are very repetitive. It's like Dunkelheit, but with more choir going on from Burzum, But it's just that same vocal riff in the first song repeat the choir part just repeats for almost 10 minutes, but you never get fucking tired of it. At least I didn't.
No, I don't. I still get goosebumps. I still get chills, and I'm like, oh, fuck, this is awesome.
Yeah, and I bought that goddamn shirt because speaking of album art again, that album art is so rad.
Yeah, it is.
Astral Skeleton. Larson, you love this, right?
It's growing on me. I want to use the word orchestral. It sounds like it's orchestra influence, probably a religious tinge to it with the choir. And I agree with you guys. It's different. It's different, and it's just not like the other black metal albums that are in our episode here. So, and I listened to it just as much as the others. So,
well, at least it didn't make number 9. That was safe.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's no Friends of Hell, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just and some of the songs where the song.
Wait, hold on. This blows my mind still that Larson would put this above
Friends of Hell. Yeah.
Weird. I can't, like, my mind doesn't.
The hell, something's going on with me. I might die tomorrow.
I just love how, like, in a couple of the songs, when the song kind of stops for a bit, and then just that low brass trombone, euphonium, French horn just comes in.
Yeah.
And then it goes back into it with those, soprano vocals. Oh God.
Yeah, I'll be Dick filleted at 11:30 p.m. and I'm not waking up in the morning. I love you guys. It was nice to know you. Just my family will send out the services service schedule of mine in the upcoming weeks.
God, I wanted to pick that, but I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I want to talk about it, but I was gambling that Pat would, and you didn't.
No, I figured if I picked it, I knew you would talk about it because there was another crossover one with Jason
Right.
that like I was like, if not, I would have picked that one. I had to, or Kip would have picked it.
So which track does the goosebumps incur at, Pat?
Well, I get goosebumps on all of them, but the
No,
the
just
welling of
come on,
welling of the eyes is
Yeah.
Stardust Elysium.
Okay, so track 3. All right, because I want to get to that.
I'm gonna listen to that tonight as soon as this is done. Just putting that on. I'm gonna like put it on my sound bar and crank it. It's really well mixed for like not being well produced or something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Well, Jason, you're up. You got the last one.
I got the last one. So this one is my number one of 2022. And it's not even close. This blew away just the rest of the 14 albums that we chose on the Brave board. I forgot where they're from. Are they from San Diego? Are they a San Diego band? I can't remember, but
More SoCal.
what's that? They're from SoCal.
San,
Yeah.
San Diego.
Instrumental band. Saw them twice last year. And I mean, I hate the fact that they came out with an album last year because I already want another one. I want to know what the next album is going to sound like. Seeing them live is just super cool. So you guys were pushing me to go see them. They totally delivered. Great sounding band, and not one line of word. It's all music. This album is.
It sucks that it's. I mean, I wish they were a little shorter. No,
It's a 1 hour jam session. And 3 songs, 61 minutes, and God, it's badass. And that's Earthless. Night Parade of 100 Demons. And I don't even know if we got Dick Ripper, we got Dick Fillet. What is there?
Ass, what did I say? Ass stretcher?
ass, yeah, ass shredding.
This is ground beefing Dick right here, man. So yeah, I'd love to hear you guys' opinions on this one.
So this one was my number one album from, because this came out early in 2022. Like I want to say February, maybe January.
Yeah, it was early.
February.
It was early.
And this is a band that Kip, like this is another one of those bands that like I knew the name, whatever. And probably 2 years ago at least now, Kip was like, oh, what about Earthless? It was after one episode when we stayed on and we're talking. And I was writing them down and was checking them out. And I was like, yeah, they're okay. Nothing. And then I saw they were coming out with an album. I was like, I'm going to pre-order this thing because I'm just going to give it another shot. And I want to go in blind to a new album. And literally, because that first track within the first 3 minutes is just really mellow. And I think it was another instance where I was outside grilling or getting ready to grill. And I played it for the first time when it came out. And I just remember sitting there and like goosebumps going up on my arm, like, holy shit. And then it kicked in to the heavier part of the song, the rest of the 18 minutes or whatever. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And one of the complaints I had with the other stuff I checked out from Kip was they have a ton of instrumental stuff, but they do have some vocals, and I could not stand his vocals on the last album. And this album was perfect to me because I was like, it got all the shit I love from that sound, and I didn't have to worry about his vocals. Because once the album was over, I was like, man, no singing. And this thing, like I said, stayed up on the top of my list for the whole year until Nick introduced me to Loon. And then it was a battle back and forth, like, God, which one do I like more? And I had to go with Loon, but this one,
Fuck yeah, you did.
this one is not far behind it for me, because it was like I could have gone either way. I think this, I mean, I would love to see these guys live. I can't even imagine it.
Well, you like your dick being like slowly pulled over a decade, then just turning into ground beef overnight.
Right.
Yeah, live there, something else. And it's like you listen to the album and you think, I wonder how much of this is studio magic. Can they really keep this up for that long? And they do. And it's
God damn.
just a three-piece. Isaiah Mitchell, who's also touring with, he's in the newer version of the Black Crows. When I saw him last summer, it was crazy seeing him up on stage playing for the Black Crows, because sometimes when he would do his like little guitar noodling stuff, Jason and I would turn to each other and go, dude, that's Earthless. You could totally hear it. He starts like just like between songs, or he would be doing kind of some
That's cool.
off the cuff solos, or I got into these guys actually on this album.
Oh, that's the Sonic Prayer. That is their best song they have ever recorded. God,
Yeah.
Jesus.
So this is
Oh,
Rhythms from the Cosmic Sky. It's kind of a bigger, this like really heavy cardboard. Came out in TP Records. This is God, this 07. And then I went back and got the first album, which is Sonic Prayer. But the song Sonic Prayer is on here.
oh my God.
Then they also do a Groundhogs cover, Cherry Red, which they play live, which is great. But I instantly was obsessed with Isaiah Mitchell. I think you can hit him up online, and he does guitar lessons.
That's
online.
cool.
I think it's pretty cool. The guy's a phenomenal player.
He's amazing.
I even, after listening to this, I even busted out his other project he did, which is Golden Void. This is a little more psychedelic, but this is 2012. There's two albums they did. I have the other, both of them on disc. This one I have on vinyl. This is more straightforward. There's some great guitar stuff on here. But he does the vocals. So I know Pat's going to be out on that one. I actually don't mind his voice, but the new one is, I mean, it just proves that guy's one of the most underrated guitar players. The band itself, I mean, Mario Rubalcaba is phenomenal. I mean, the guy he's in Off, Rocket from the Crypt, used to be a pro skateboarder, believe it or not. But just a monster drummer, Mike Eggington,
Yeah.
Awesome bass player.
It's all three of them. It totally works for me. I want to know what Nick's opinion of this album is.
Okay. 20-minute instrumental songs is a little tough. I like it when they cook. It seems like some of the songs have a little too much buildup. Like, okay, let's get this going. Let's get it going here. So vocals will probably help with the 20-minute part of it. But what their loud sections I liked, but the kind of the stuff in between brought it down for me. So the only other really instrumental rock band that I know is the fucking Champs, and I like them. I like them a lot, especially I think their album 3, or is it maybe 4? Both those albums, but same thing. They're instrumental songs, but they're all like 5, 6, 7 minutes long. So for an instrumental piece, 20 minutes is a bit hard to swallow. But I mean, I didn't hate it. It's just like I found my mind wandering at times.
Mhm.
My mind was wandering to like, how the fuck did Larson like this shit? No, just No, no, it's great, but it's just again, same thing with oh, who did I say earlier? Oh, the Silent Skies. It's like it's just to me like it's maybe driving music, talking to my friends, or
Right.
hanging out and it's playing in the background, but like just sitting down intently listening to it for an hour was a bit much. But I didn't hate it at all. I'm not gonna get it, but if it was played in my presence, I'm gonna totally fucking enjoy it.
Fair enough.
Well, it's an excellent 12 albums we got through here. So
And this for me was the first episode where when I look at the list, I would potentially own every album from this episode, which has never happened.
mhm.
You know, because there's always been one where like, nope, I'm not going back to that one ever. But like this one, I would be like, oh, I'm gonna get those, you know, or I would get them if I saw them, or at some point I may come back to them and be like, oh, I'm buying it.
If I saw a brand at the Goodwill for $2,
Well,
You Czechoslovakians eat bran.
I'm wondering. I haven't looked. I wonder if it's Bran from Game of Thrones. If they named themselves after that character. I don't know.
yeah, Bran. Is
Yeah,
it Bran Stark?
yeah. The cripple.
Yeah. Isn't he the one that becomes the
Yeah, at the end of this. Yeah.
spoiler?
Spoiler.
But no, this is I agree, Pat. This is like one of those episodes that I mean I already own two of Jason's. Um
All of mine.
yeah. And I know Nick is gonna buy Troops of Doom and Friends
Oh
of
no, heartbeat. Happy birthday, Nick.
Yeah, but I will buy Sakis the fucking second that gets a goddamn CD release.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And which Rotting Christ album am I going to first, gentlemen?
The Dead Poem.
Dead Poem, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like everything they've ever done. The newer stuff is it's a little I don't know. Once you listen to Rotting Christ, if you hear a Rotting Christ album, you think that's Rotting Christ. Like they just have a very distinct sound.
Okay.
But yeah, Dead Poem, I think, is
Okay.
closest. That or yeah, start with that. Absolutely.
And Sleep of Angels after that.
Yeah. Which is the one right after it. So but yeah, guys, no, thank you. And we'll have
On,
to
gentlemen.
get this going again soon.
Another one in the books.
We're gonna get another episode going here soon. I know I got
I think we're doing our top 3 Lithuanian metal bands, right?
I think tomorrow, not tomorrow, next week I'll be doing one with Joe, another episode, and I gotta get together with him about what it's gonna be, but
Is that the top 3 Romanian pagan metal bands?
I could tell you right now if you want.
but yeah, man, I appreciate it. So,
Good chatting, boys.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. This one was fun. I
Yeah.
enjoyed this.
Oh.
This one was
More fun than Maiden, the Dark Years.
major
The Dark Years.
major expansion there.
Just make sure you delete Silent Skies from your YouTube history. Don't go back to it. Just
When I need a good cry, I'll go back to Taper.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's better for those that are listening. It's better than what Nick is saying. And so is Norham. Norham was
Jason, since you always fixate on those Eastern European bands and their similarities to food, just know that Norham, there's a song on there called Samis. That's not sandwich.
it's not sandwich.
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
all right, guys,
All right.
we'll see you.
Well,
All right, guys.
wait.
Good evening.